My fellow butterfly travelers, we have honored the survival mask. We have thanked it for what it gave us: safety, endurance, a way through. Now we are ready to go deeper, not into fixing, but into remembering. Because when we begin to peel back the layers of survival, something extraordinary starts to happen. We meet the sovereign self, the one underneath it all, the you that was never lost, never shattered, just temporarily covered. So what do I mean when I say sovereignty? Let's be clear. Sovereignty is not control. It's not about having all the answers, checking all the boxes, or being untouched by emotion. Sovereignty is sacred authority. It is the knowing that no matter what happens outside of you, there is a center within you that cannot be shaken. It is choosing your alignment again and again, over and above your circumstances. See, survival taught us to react, but sovereignty invites us to respond. Survival said, don't feel that, don't look there, just get through it. Sovereignty says, come sit with it, come feel it, and then choose what's true. Survival said, fit in. Sovereignty says, come home. You see, there's a softness in sovereignty, a holy confidence, because the sovereign self is not trying to earn worth. It knows it is worthy. The sovereign self does not hustle for validation. It moves from alignment. Let me give you a picture. Think of a compass. It doesn't yell, it doesn't force, it doesn't argue. It just points true north, always. Even if you turn it in circle, it waits until you're ready to trust it again. And that is your sovereign self. The whisper beneath the chaos, the unbothered knowing beneath your fear. The soft, sacred yes in your soul when the world is shouting no. Now, you might say, but Babs, how do I know when I'm in sovereignty? And I'll tell you this. Sovereignty feels like peace, not comfort necessarily, but peace. It might come with trembling hands or a lump in your throat, but underneath it all, there's this hum, a resonance, a rightness. Like, yes, this is me, this is true. Let's pause here. Can you remember a moment when you made a decision that didn't make sense to anyone else, but it felt so right in your body? Maybe you said no to something that seemed perfect on paper, or walked away from a relationship that was familiar but no longer honest, or chose rest when the world applauded your hustle. That is sovereignty. It's not always flashy, and it's not always logical, but it is always aligned. And let me be honest with you, when we first step into our sovereignty, it often feels kind of like a holy rebellion. But the world taught you to prove yourself, to be palatable, to please before you even speak your own need. But the sovereign self, she doesn't beg for permission. She doesn't dilute her voice to keep the peace. She walks in her sacred yes and her sacred no. And sometimes that no will crack open everything you thought you had to be. Sometimes that no will sound like truth echoing in a canyon. Lonely at first, but then freeing. Because sovereignty never leaves you with less. It brings you back to the more that you already are. And here's the beautiful part. You don't become sovereign by striving. You reclaim your sovereignty by remembering. You see, you were born sovereign, not separate, not incomplete, but whole. The world may have layered on stories, but beneath those stories is essence. Beneath performance is presence. Beneath your fear is freedom. So here is your sacred invitation today. Can you allow the sovereign self to lead? Not the ego self that panics and performs, but the part of you that already knows. The part of you that isn't asking to be fixed, but to be followed. Let me offer a few questions, and don't answer them quickly. Let them simmer. Where in your life are you still choosing from fear instead of alignment? What part of you still believes you have to earn your worth before you can live your truth? And most sacred of all, what does your sovereign self know that you have forgotten? Just breathe that for a moment. Let yourself listen, not to the noise, not to the past, but to that quiet, holy hum beneath it all. She's still there. He's still there. You haven't lost anything. You've simply been remembering. So let's breathe together. Inhale, I choose alignment. Exhale, I release the mask. Yes, love, you are ready. Let's keep walking. Let's bring this conversation from the heart into the hands.